What if one small decision could change your life forever? Imagine this. You're a single father, working late nights as a janitor in a massive glass skyscraper. No one knows your name. You're invisible. Until one night, the most powerful CEO in the city, the woman whose face is on magazine covers, the one people whisper about but never approach, looks straight at you and says, "Pretend you love me, for 10 days. Crazy, right? Why would someone who has everything want love from someone who has nothing? But that's where this story begins. A janitor with nothing left but his daughter, and a CEO who has everything except the one thing her soul craves, love. This is their story. And maybe, just maybe, by the end, it could become yours too. Daniel's footsteps echoed in the empty halls of the skyscraper as he pushed the mop across the polished marble floor. Midnight shifts were always the hardest. The world outside was sleeping, but for him, work never ended. His hands were rough from years of scrubbing floors, and his back ached from bending over again and again. Still, he thought of Mia. 6 years old, waiting for him at home. He pictured her small hands sketching with crayons, her laughter filling their tiny apartment. That thought gave him strength, even when exhaustion threatened to break him. As Daniel gathered his cleaning supplies near the top floor, he saw light spilling from the CEO's office. He frowned. Nobody ever stayed this late. Curiosity tugged at him, but he kept his head down. He knew his place, invisible, unnoticed. But then he heard it, the faint sound of a sigh. Heavy, lonely. Through the glass walls of the office, he saw her. Elena Steele, her silhouette framed against the city skyline. She looked untouchable, like a queen surveying her kingdom. Daniel had seen her in newspapers, ruthless, brilliant, admired, and feared. But what he saw now wasn't power. It was something else, something almost fragile. He tried to slip away quietly, but her voice cut through the silence. Wait. Daniel froze, his heart thudding. Did he do something wrong? Slowly, he turned. Yes, ma'am. Her eyes studied him with unnerving intensity. What's your name? Daniel, he said hesitantly. Just, the janitor. Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Daniel, she said his name slowly, as though testing it. Then, with startling directness, she said, I need you to pretend you love me. For 10 days. The mop slipped from his hands, clattering onto the floor. What? I'm serious. She stepped closer, her heels clicking against the marble. Her voice carried the same authority that probably made billionaires obey her commands. But there was a crack in it too. A tremor. I don't have time to explain everything, but I need someone real. Someone who isn't after my money, my status, or my company. Someone who can convince people that I'm not as empty as they think I am. Daniel blinked, utterly confused. And you want me? Look at me. I don't belong in your world. That's exactly why, she said, almost desperately. I saw you in the cafeteria last week, with your daughter. The way you looked at her, it wasn't forced. It was love. Real love. I need that. I need you. His heart raced. Was this a joke? A trap? Or maybe, a miracle? Because then she said words that left him speechless. If you help me, I'll pay you more than you've ever made in your life. Enough to take care of your little girl. Enough to change everything. Daniel swallowed hard. The janitor with nothing. The CEO with everything. Could this really be happening? And as silence stretched between them, Alina's voice softened for the first time. Maybe you don't belong in my world, Daniel. But maybe, I need someone who doesn't. And just like that, two lives from opposite worlds collided. The first morning of their arrangement was awkward beyond words. Daniel stood stiffly in a suit Alina's assistants had tailored overnight. The collar itched, the tie felt like a noose. He kept tugging at it, earning a sharp whisper from Elena as they entered the boardroom. Stop fidgeting, she hissed. You're supposed to be my boyfriend, not a nervous teenager at prom. Daniel shot her a look. Easy for you to say. I'm used to mops and buckets, not this. The meeting was suffocating. Powerful men and women sat around the long table, their gazes sharp as knives. Elena introduced Daniel with practiced ease. This is Daniel, the man I've been seeing. For a split second, the room fell into stunned silence. Then the polite smiles came, thin and judgmental. Their eyes scanned Daniel from head to toe, and he felt the weight of their silent mockery. But Elena's hand slipped into his under the table, firm and steady. The gesture shocked him, not because it was part of the act, but because for the first time, she looked at him not as her hired pretender, but as though she needed him. Behind closed doors, though, the mask slipped. Elena would throw off her heels, collapse onto the sofa, and pour herself a glass of wine. She asked him about Mia, about the little things, what she liked to eat, what bedtime stories she loved. And Daniel, surprised, found himself talking. Really talking. About late night homework, about scraped knees, about a little girl who made him believe life was still worth living. Elena listened. And slowly, her icy exterior began to thaw. When Daniel finally brought Mia over one evening, Elena was visibly nervous. She wasn't used to children. But Mia, with all her innocence, ran into Elena's arms as though she had known her forever. I made this for you, she said, handing over a messy crayon drawing of 3 figures holding hands, Daniel, Mia, and Elena. Elena's eyes filled with tears. She blinked them away quickly, but Daniel saw. And something inside him shifted. The lines between pretend and real began to blur. The laughs they shared, the dinners that no longer felt like business, the quiet moments when Elena leaned her head against his shoulder, none of it felt staged anymore. But the world wasn't kind. A rival executive began digging into Daniel's past. His debts, his struggles, his job as a janitor. At a crucial meeting, they humiliated him, calling him unworthy of Elena, unworthy of standing beside a woman of her stature. Daniel's pride burned. That night, he packed his things. This was a mistake. I don't want Mia growing up seeing her father treated like dirt. I can't do this anymore. Elena's voice broke as she stopped him at the door. Daniel, you don't understand. You weren't just part of my plan. You made me feel something I thought I'd never feel. For the first time in my life, I wasn't a CEO. I was me. Please, don't go. He looked at her, torn between fear and the undeniable truth in his heart. The 10 days were almost over, yet what they had wasn't a lie anymore. And in that fragile moment, Daniel realized, sometimes the love you pretend becomes the love that saves you. This isn't just a story about a janitor and a CEO. It's about 2 broken souls finding wholeness in each other. It's about how real love has nothing to do with money, status, or power. It's about presence, kindness, and the courage to open your heart, even when the world tells you it's impossible. So remember, sometimes the love you think is pretend becomes the love that changes everything.